Do you think that the border is secure? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Please listen carefully.
She's as funny as Lucy and she's in the know. She's as smart as Phil and always on the go. It's the Patsy Hoolahan Show.
How the Democrats feel about the impending shutdown, I'd like to bring in Democratic Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley from the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Congresswoman, Speaker McCarthy has been dodging questions on whether or not he would turn to Democrats to try to gain enough support to pass his own continuing resolution. Do you see a scenario in which House Democrats would work with McCarthy on this to try to keep the government open?
It's shameful, Jake, that we're in this position.
Right now, the U.S. is facing a crisis at the border, and this historic wave of Venezuelan migrants crossing into the U.S. The U.S. cannot deport most of them, or any of them really, because of the frosty diplomatic relations with Venezuela. More than 7.7 million people have fled Venezuela. There's no sign this is slowing down. Do you agree that something needs to be done about our border, that it's just not sustainable? I mean, we see, these governors, and I'm sure you disapprove of the tactic, but they're sending migrants into places like Massachusetts, like New York, like California, and these cities are having trouble keeping up. The Republican governors say things like, we're just giving you a taste of what we have to deal with.
Our border is secure, and we're in the midst of a humanitarian crisis, and we have to fix a broken system.
You think it is secure? You think the border is secure, or it is not secure?
I believe that we are in the midst of a humanitarian crisis, and there needs to be federal investment to support those migrant families. And I work with a number of those community-based organizations on the ground, and they need more support.
Joining me now is the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. Good morning, Mr. Secretary. I want to start right there. We heard the sheriff say it, the governor say it, and the migrants I spoke to say it. They are coming across because they believe they will be welcomed under the Biden administration. You said yourself 3 weeks ago, we're not saying don't come, we're saying don't come now. President Biden had a stronger message later, but the messages are mixed at best, Mr. Secretary.
The message is quite clear. Do not come. Do not come.
I don't disagree with this being a humanitarian crisis at all, but just to get some clarity on this, and sure, that's a conversation for another day, but do you think that the border is secure? Is that what you said?
Yes, the border is secure, and we're in the midst of a humanitarian crisis that has been created by a broken system.
The border is closed. The border is secure.
Jake, this is not a new crisis. It does require more political will and commitment. It is a humanitarian crisis. We should treat it as such. And again, representing one of the most diverse constituencies in the country. And in fact, I chair the House Haiti Caucus. I represent the third largest Haitian diaspora in the country. And what I see on the ground is community-based organizations and municipalities who need federal support.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying, except for the idea that the border is secure. I mean, if you have people crossing the border, it's just by definition not secure. If you have people coming to the United States, in fact, I mean, one of the arguments being made, and I think it's an argument worth considering, is that because our border is so porous, millions of people make this very unsafe journey. Millions of people give money to people who prey on them, coyotes, and take them on these journeys to cross into the United States, preying on them, vulnerable people. And that's because the border is not secure. Because it is not secure, they go on this journey. And one of the arguments that is made, and maybe you disagree with it, is that the border should be secure so as to discourage people from making this journey. So that if people want to try to come to the United States and declare asylum and seek asylum, they go through the proper corridors and not just try to cross illegally. But it just seems like just such a refusal to acknowledge reality, just to say that the border is secure when we all know millions of people are crossing the border illegally every year.
Jake, and that is a consequence of a number of things.
When Joe Biden came into office, we had in place, under President Trump, Title 42, remain in Mexico, and safe third country agreements. Collectively, what it meant was anyone who crossed the border illegally was either sent to Mexico, a willing country, or their home country. Nobody was getting released into the United States. Catch and release was over, finished, done, a remnant of the past. He single-handedly and purposefully dismantled every single policy that we had in place at the border and in the interior and implemented the catch and release scheme that has led to the largest tidal wave of illegal immigration in human history. They are now averaging 10,000 apprehensions a day, and on top of that, thousands more gotaways. Joe Biden has converted CBP and ICE into a resettlement operation. Their job is to find illegal immigrants and resettle them in all 50 American states.
It sounds like in there you acknowledge that there are millions of people crossing the border illegally, which would mean that the border is not secure. But I don't disagree with any of the points you made about these people are trying to seek better lives and they're escaping all sorts of horrible things. But would you grant me the point that the border is not secure?
Our border is secure.
Well, folks, you heard it here. If you had any questions, now there's no doubt.
The border,
Our border
is
is
secure.
secure.